Hey, what's up everyone? I'm making this video for all the newbies out there, for everyone that doesn't know much at all about selling products on Amazon FBA, and more specifically Amazon Japan. So if you want to see a step-by-step guide on how to sell private label products on Amazon Japan, stay tuned. Alright, so how to sell on Amazon Japan FBA. So this is basically a guide for all the newbies out there, or the beginners out there. And I guess if you're just interested in what else is kind of involved in selling on Japan rather than the other markets, if you've got a bit of experience or knowledge selling on the US or whatever, yeah, this might be able to help you out as well. So yep, with that being said, let's move right into it. Alright, so who am I? So for those of you who are new to the channel, Mitch Davis, and yeah, I'm living in Tokyo, Japan. Been here for almost 10 years now. Yeah, married, I've got a Japanese wife. Yeah, I speak Japanese. Well, it's not perfect, but yeah, it's alright. And yeah, so I've been selling private label products on Amazon Japan for over 2 years now. Yeah, it's been a pretty interesting experience. First year was a bit tough trying to figure everything out because, yeah, as I've said before in the past, there's not much information out there for people that want to sell on the Japan market. But yeah, currently we're doing over yen per month in sales on the Japan marketplace. So it's averaging around about 10,000 USD per month in sales. And yeah, also selling in the UK recently as well, but I'll just keep everything relevant to Japan for this video. Alright, so why sell on Amazon in the first place? Alright, so yeah, Amazon is massive, it's huge, it's a $1 trillion company, and yeah, by far it's the world leader when it comes to e-commerce. Yes, even in Japan, I'll talk about it a bit later, but it's taken over the top spot as the main e-commerce platform here in Japan as well. Yeah, they've got millions of paying customers already in their database, so they make it very easy for customers to buy things these days. Basically, it's just the click of a button. You can buy something and have it ready to be shipped to your house, which is pretty convenient. And yeah, like that relates to the next one, which is fast shipping. So yeah, if you've got Prime, if you're a Prime member, yeah, if you didn't know, Amazon has fulfillment centers throughout the countries that they have that service for Prime in. And yeah, so specifically in Japan, it's the same day shipping or 2-day shipping, which is pretty awesome, and that's one of the main reasons why it's starting to dominate over here as well. Which leads to the next slide. Yeah, why the Japan market? So yeah, it's the third largest Amazon marketplace. So it goes US, then it's actually Germany, and now it is Japan. So it used to be the UK, but they took over that spot a couple of years ago. And yeah, one of the good things about it, or one of the best things about it, is there's less competition. Yeah, especially compared to the US. There is obviously competition, but in the grand scheme of things, you know, if you just start browsing around, especially if you've already sold a few things or you know a bit about Amazon selling, there's a lot less competition to deal with here in the Japan market. Yeah, next point, 127 million people here in Japan, and yeah, around about 84 million of them actually shop online. That's massive, you know. So as I said before, the leading e-commerce platform here in Japan. Amazon is investing billions into the Japan market. Yeah, so over the last, I think since three or 4 years ago, they introduced Prime Video anyway, Prime Video, and that made a huge increase in the number of members to Amazon. So yeah, Japanese people love Amazon Prime. A lot of people watch the Amazon Prime Video over here as well. So, and I think it's just a matter of time before Japan takes over the second spot. That's only my opinion, but when you just look at the numbers of the people, even compared to Germany, you know, there's so many more people here, and there's so many people shopping online. So yeah, that's why I'm happy to kind of get in here quick and then try and establish myself and my position in my brands now before you get a lot more bigger influx of you know, sellers trying to compete and come here later down the track. Alright, so what is Amazon FBA? Alright, so FBA stands for Fulfillment by Amazon. So as I said before, they have warehouses, their fulfillment centers throughout the country. And so, yeah, if you know about Prime and you know about the quick shipping, the reason is because they can pack and ship all the products quickly because they have all the products in their warehouses already throughout the countries, right? So which makes that very valuable for sellers like us. You can send in your products into their fulfillment centers, leave them there to store for you, and then when a customer buys your product on Amazon Japan, yeah, they will pack and then they will ship your products for you, which is very helpful and takes a lot of the workload off. Alright, so what is private labeling? So private labeling is basically when you have a generic product and yeah, you just put your logo or your brand on it basically and call it your own. The good thing about it is it makes your product more unique, makes it harder to copy for other competitors and things like that. And yeah, you can also build a brand around them, and then eventually if you wanted to, it's possible that you can actually sell that brand in the future if that's one way that you want to go. Alright, and yeah, next, FBA fees. Alright, so it's not free. Amazon doesn't let you just sell on their platform for free. But yeah, it's definitely well worth it. Like as I said, they pack and ship your products for you. Not only that, like as I mentioned earlier as well, they have, they got millions of customers in their database. So, and all these customers, they go to Amazon to search for something to buy. So if you can get your product in front of the eyes of the people that are looking for a product like yours, chances are that they're going to buy it if you offer it in the right way. If you have if you have a nice listing and things like that, nice photos and so on. All right, so private label product example. So I thought I'd just give a quick example, like of a typical private label product for those people that still might be a bit confused. All right, so this is the best seller ranking page. So for all the top selling products on Amazon Japan. Yes, I just look through here and say this thing here, this bicycle holder stand, or yeah. So the English, automatically translated English that Amazon does is pretty strange. So just you can get a good idea of what it is, but it's not going to be perfect English most of the time. But just click on this, and yeah, so it's a pretty generic product, and I'll just wait for my screen to load. So they've put their logo here, Tiakia or something like that, on it to kind of call it their own brand. But at the end of the day, there's going to be a lot of other products pretty much the same to this anyway. So if you come down here, so as you can see, there's a whole heap of kind of similar things down here, and they've all got their own brands on them as well. So yeah, and that's what I do. I just get a product and make it my own brand and then sell it as my own brand, basically. It's my own, with my own logo on it. So back into it. So is it easy? No, it's not easy. It gets a lot easier as you gain experience and you do it over and over again when you're putting out new products and things like that. But yeah, it's not super difficult easy. I mean, it's not super difficult either. So you can find a lot of information online for free. There's courses out there if you wanted to learn more about it. Yeah, on my channel I'm just going to be focused on giving out free content on here. So stay tuned and click that subscribe button if you're interested. And yes, how much money can you make? That's well, it all depends on your products and how many products you have at the end of the day. The more products you have, the more money you can make, and then you can also branch out into other marketplaces. You could sell in the US if you wanted to. You can sell in Europe, and yeah, the more you grow, the more money you make at the end of the day. But it all starts with just selling one product and growing from there. And is this long term? Well, it depends. How long do you think Amazon's going to stay around for at the end of the day? It's yeah, as I said, it's a huge company, and they're only growing bigger and bigger each year. They keep expanding into new, different kind of markets and different kind of services as well. So, as far as I'm concerned, yeah, it's going to be around for a long time. All right, so let's get into some of the nitty gritty. So setting up your account. So yeah, set up a professional account. So there's two types of accounts. There's an individual account and a professional account. So with the individual account, there's no monthly subscription fees or anything like that. But every time that you sell a product, they will charge you 100 yen. Whereas if you've got a professional account, it's 4,900 yen per month. But you can sell as many products as you want. So if you sell over, 49, if you sell 50 products in a month or more, you're better to go with the professional account. So you might as well just get a professional account because you're gonna be trying to sell a lot of units every month. All right, so what don't you need? I get these questions a lot. Do you need a business in Japan? And yeah, you don't need a business in Japan, which makes things a bit easier. And you also don't need a bank account in Japan either. So yeah, so I'm going to be focusing this presentation on, thinking about the fact that the majority of you are not in Japan, and you also don't understand Japanese. So if you do live in Japan and you do speak Japanese, yeah, obviously you have a bit of an advantage. But yeah, so I'll be pointing out the things that majority of you sellers coming from overseas are thinking about. All right, and so what do you need? So you will need local Japanese customer service. So you can, I've already made some videos on these kind of topics before earlier, but yeah, you can hire agencies to do that for you, and also they can do it on a case-by-case basis, so it's not like a monthly subscription or anything like that. So for example, if you get one call, you'll pay them, I don't know, like 2,000 yen or something like that. I can't remember how much they cost, but yeah, you can look into that. And yeah, but Japanese people don't tend to, the return numbers are pretty low compared to some other countries, so that's another good point about selling on Amazon Japan. Yeah, so next, product listing in Japanese. So yeah, at the end of the day, Japanese customers want to be able to read what your product is about in Japanese. And yeah, it helps you at the end of the day as well, because Japanese people are also searching in Japanese. So in order to get your product in front of the eyes of Japanese customers, it's going to help you a lot more to have it in Japanese instead of just writing in English or whatever. And the last one is a local address for customer returns. So this is the most tricky part. I have had a few people ask me about this kind of point. So you can actually hire some agencies out there that will allow you, that offer this kind of service. I can't remember the name of the people I was talking to the other day. I'll leave a link in the description of the company, one of the companies, or a few companies actually, that can do this for you. Alright, so step one is product research, and this is the biggest part of the whole flow of selling private label products. And yeah, the most time consuming and can sometimes be the most frustrating too. Alright, so how do you do product research? Alright, so and why, I guess, is probably a good point too. So for me personally, there's so many different ways you can go about it, and there's so many different ways to sell on Amazon Japan. But for me, when I'm selling private label products, especially for the Japan market, I look for products that already have a good sales history and show that there's actual demand there. I don't want to just take a guess and think, okay, I think this product will sell. Let's just put it there and see what happens, because yeah, I don't want to be buying a bunch of inventory, sending it in, and then finding out that no one wants it. So yeah, there's no tools, I'll just say that straight off the bat. There's none that I really know, and none that I recommend right now that are worth investing in. So yeah, you have to do a lot of it manually, so it does make it a lot more time consuming and tough, but that's just the way it is. Well, that's the way I do it anyway. And yeah, so I'll just go through some of the criteria that I use as a general rule of thumb. It's not concrete, but it's just a good thing to keep in your head. Well, for myself anyway. So yes, there should be at least 4 sellers with 10 or more sales per day. This is just a general sign of demand for a specific type of product. Because well, compared to the US is there's just so many sales and numbers over there. It's ridiculous. But in Japan, it's a lot smaller, so you can get away with looking at products that have around about 4 sellers, at least to be interested. Or that's what I get interested in anyway, especially because the level of competition is a lot lower, and a lot of the times you can do a better job than your competition. So and steal some sales at the end of the day. All right, and yeah, at least 120 days of good sales. So yeah, there's always new sellers coming in. There are a lot of sellers from China trying to sell stuff on here. So there's always new products going up, and especially the popular products. You'll find people coming in all the time trying to be get to the top of those. So it's good to look at the history to see if those if the sales have actually been influenced, I guess, in the wrong kind of way. So to give you some real data. Okay, so you might still be a little bit confused about what I was just going through, so I thought I'd give you a bit more of an example. So if we go back to this bike smartphone holder, if you come down here, this is a Chrome extension called Keeper, Keepa. There's the logo for it up there. You can download this for free. It's very useful. So you can see the sales history, or the BSR history, that this product has basically since January this year. So it's around here right now. It's around about sales rank of 7, 8, and even back here it's been really low as well. So this product has shown a pretty good sales history. Yes, every product page has a BSR, a best seller ranking, and you can find it down here. So as you can see, this is number 6 in the sports and outdoors category. So this product right here is currently right now the 6th best selling product in the sports and outdoors category. So it's doing really well. So the higher the BSR, the worse the product's doing. So the lower the number, the more it's selling at the end of the day. So the lower the number, the better. So then what you do, if you want to find out how many sellers are doing good numbers, you'd come back to your main page here and then just go through all of these products here and look at each one of their BSRs and their sales histories to get an idea of the demand and what the sales numbers are like. So then you might be wondering, what BSR equals how many sales. So I've actually done a video already on our product research if you want to have a bit more of a detailed look on it. But yeah, basically I made this little spreadsheet here. I've put it in my Facebook group, Amazon Japan exclusive. You can just jump in there, you can grab it for free. So I've basically got this from, there is a software tool called Amasheti, but it doesn't really work very well, and actually they're not open to new members anyway, so I don't recommend it to anyone. And I did my best just to give you a brief, kind of rough idea, a rough guide of what BSR equates to how many sales in a day. So for example, like electronics, a BSR 1 they sell around about 88 units each day. And also, so how many sales, what's the BSR have to be to sell around 10 a day? So it would be around about 1,800. And then I just put in as much of the categories that I could that was available to me. So if you want that, just jump into the Facebook group and you can grab that. Okay, so the next is non-seasonal. So yeah, basically when you're starting off, I recommend that you start with non-seasonal products, which basically means products that are going to be selling the whole year round. You want to avoid products like maybe ski gloves, because they probably only sell in the winter time, or like Christmas decorations, because they're only going to be selling around Christmas time. You want to find products that sell the whole year through. It just makes it a bit easier on yourself. If you're selling seasonal products, there is, you can make money there, of course, but it's a bit of a balancing act with your stock. And if you get too much and then you don't sell all them out by the end of that season, well, then you get stuck with that stock, and then you might have to start paying storage fees and stuff like that. So you just keep it simple, and starters just try and find evergreen products that sell throughout the year. Next, reviews under 250. So in Japan, the number of reviews doesn't influence customers that much, but more of I guess the quality of the reviews is more important. So if you've got 4.5 to 5 stars, it's a lot better. Of like say 20 reviews, it's a lot better than having say 200 reviews, but you've got 3 stars or 3.5 stars. Just as a general kind of rule of thumb. So so when you're starting out, yeah, you can get away with having low reviews, and you can compete with similar products that have higher reviews. But 250 over, if there's only like one seller that's doing like over 250, but there's quite a few other sellers that are still selling, but they've got lower reviews, that should be okay. All right, next, at least 1,500 yen for your product price. So, reason being is at the end of the day, when your products get cheaper and cheaper, as I said earlier, there's FBA fees. I mean, Amazon fees that you have to pay for. So, if your product's too cheap, it's just gonna cut into your margins at the end of the day. So, it's safer to have a product that's around about 1,500 yen or over. Okay, next, no trademark or patent. So yeah, I know a few people that have been stung with trademark and patent infringements in the past. It's not a very nice experience. So just when you're looking through products, if you say something that's kind of unique, and maybe it's selling a lot more than the other products that it's competing against, maybe it's a good sign that it's got a patent. If or trademark might be have a strong brand behind it, so stay away from things like that. If you are really interested in it, you can do a patent search online, or you can even pay someone to do a proper patent search for you as well. Okay, next, non-breakable and lightweight. So yeah, this is just mainly to protect you more from returns and customer complaints and things like that. And when I talk about non-breakable, I mean, we'll stay away from things that are made out of glass or crockery and things like that can break, that is easy to break during shipment. It can just be a bit of a hassle, and you can end up having to spend money or losing money, I guess, on returns and things like that. And for lightweight, basically it's just a bonus because you can save money on shipping costs. Next, not complicated products. So by this, I just mean keep it simple at the end of the day. You don't want to electronics. Well, it depends on the electronics, but when things get a bit too complicated, it can it's hard, especially if your manufacturer has a problem. It's hard to get that problem fixed. It's easier to find more of a simple product that's more likely to have less issues kind of in the future, or less problems that you have to worry about fixing. So when you have more problems, that means that you have more customer complaints, which means you can have more returns, and then you get negative reviews. And if you get negative reviews, that can have a big effect on the number of sales that you end up making. All right, so moving on. Step 2, finding a supplier, purchasing in bulk, and then shipping. All right, so how and where do you get your products from? So for me personally, I just use Alibaba.com. For those of you who don't know that website, it's basically just probably the largest directory for wholesalers and suppliers online. It's a Chinese website, so a lot of the suppliers are obviously Chinese. But yeah, most of the products that you'll see in your house, especially in Japan, are made in China. So yeah, it's not China is obviously one of the main places to get manufacturing done. All right, so I'll just give you a bit of a look around on the website. Okay, so this is Alibaba.com. So let's just keep with our example of the bike smartphone holders. So you just come up here, type that in, bike smart. There you go, smartphone holder. And then yeah, you'll come up with a bunch of products and suppliers for these smartphone holders. So another way you can do it, instead of going through products, you can actually click on suppliers and go this way as well, which is sometimes pretty handy, because if you just go with it on the products tab, a lot of the time you'll come up with the same suppliers products. So this way you can it's sorted out with each different supplier. And then, so if you want to contact a supplier, you can just click this button, and then yeah, you can send them out messages. So yeah, I have a template that I use when I'm contacting suppliers, and then yeah, that way you can get all your questions out in one shot to save a lot of time going back and forwards, asking questions and things like that. And it's easy to compare and vet each supplier. So, and that which kind of leads me on to the next part, which is negotiate with suppliers, how to negotiate with them. So if you're contacting a bunch of suppliers, I use a general rule of thumb around about 10 suppliers I'll reach out to. Then you can compare costs. You can compare their English level, how fast they respond, all these kind of things. And if you're trying to negotiate on price or the number of units, so most suppliers will have an MOQ, which is your minimum order quantity. A lot of suppliers might have like 500 or 1,000, but if that's too many for you, there are ways that you can negotiate to get those numbers down, or even like the price down. So obviously if you've found a supplier that's got a cheaper price, then the guys that you're interested in working with, you can show them that price, and hopefully you can work something out. And a lot of the time, yeah, they are willing to bend, because they want to make money at the end of the day too. They want to build strong, long-lasting relationships so they can have repeat business as well. All right, so how do you pay and how do you protect yourself? All right, so usually when you make an order, you can put down a 30% deposit to get the manufacturing started, and then pay the remaining 70% at the end. So for the 30%, a lot of people that are starting out, they get a bit worried about how to pay and things like that. Are they going to get scammed? The safest way to do it, if you really want to be careful, is to pay via excuse me, PayPal through your credit card. So if you do have a problem and you want to try and you want to open a dispute and maybe get your money back, first you can complain. You open up the dispute with PayPal, and if they say no, they're not going to do it, then you have a second line of defense, and you can try and dispute it with your credit card company as well. So that's the safest way. And then with the remaining 70%, it's okay just to pay via wire transfer. But yeah, you don't have to use PayPal, and a lot of the times suppliers will be pretty hesitant to use PayPal, mainly because there's fees involved. So if they really don't want to do it, you can maybe negotiate and offer to pay half the fees each, something like that. I've worked in the import-export industry for quite a few years now, and wire transfer is pretty much the way that most large companies pay. Okay, next, how do you ship to Japan's Amazon FBA centers? All right, this part sounds daunting, but it's actually pretty simple, really. The easiest way to do it is just get your supplier to arrange the shipping for you. A lot of suppliers, if you say you want a door-to-door service from their factory, get them to organize everything, to the ports in China or whatever, over to Japan, then from the Japan ports to the Amazon warehouses. A lot of suppliers can organize that for you, but you will probably be paying a little bit more, a little bit higher. So the other way is to use a freight forwarder and then get the freight forwarder to organize the shipping for you. All right, and last, import of record, so your IOR. So in Japan, if you're importing products into the country, you will need an IOR, which is basically a person or an entity here in Japan to take responsibility for the goods coming into the country, and basically answer any questions that maybe customs have, or any duties or taxes that need to be paid. So it's not a big deal. I'll put a video out on this as well. If you're an international seller, if you're not in Japan and you don't know anyone here, you can just pay an agency to do it. It's not very expensive. I've seen them for around about $50 per shipment. And yeah, if you do live in Japan, you can actually do it yourself if you wanted to do that. All right. Step number 3, create a listing. All right, so first of all, what is a listing? So yeah, it's just the product page. Every product that you see on Amazon has a product page. That's what we call the listing. And they have a few things in a listing. I'll just, I guess I'll go through and show what I mean. Okay, so back to our smartphone holder again. So the most important things of a listing is your photos. Okay, your main photo and then all the rest of your photos. When potential customers are searching for, say, a smartphone holder, they're scrolling through and the first thing that they see, the first impression is of that first photo. So you really want to do your best to make it stand out and have it, good quality. Then you've got your title up here. You have your bullet points here, and then down the bottom you have your description, all of this stuff down here. And in Japan, like in the US, you actually have to have a trademark and be brand registered to be able to have access to this enhanced brand content. But here in Japan, you don't need that, which is one of the bonuses. All right, so what helps a product to sell? So yeah, basically you want to have amazing pictures, and you want your listing to be optimized with really good keywords. So in your title, you want really good relevant keywords, and then your bullet points, and down below in your description as well. So the reason you want these keywords in there is you want it to be Amazon to know what to rank your product for and where to put it, which customers' eyeballs to put it in front of, basically, at the end of the day. Okay, so how do you make a superior listing and beat your competitors? Okay, well, yeah, I basically said that. So going back to photos again, so I recommend that you spend a bit of money on getting professional photos done. They are the most important part of the whole product page. If you are on a tight budget and you don't want to spend that much, at least get or borrow a really good camera so you can take high resolution photos, and put some thought and creativity into your photos. All right. Next is Japanese translations. All right, yeah. So when you're writing all of your descriptions and things like that, they have to be in Japanese. So I'm going to assume that the majority of you can't speak Japanese. So what you can do, there are services out there that do provide this, these translation services for you. I've spoken about one company before called JWire. They are like a one-stop shop for international sellers wanting to sell on Amazon Japan. They offer an IOR service as well. You can check them out. It's not that expensive, and like there's another company called Gengo.com. I think it was like 6 cents per word or something like that. I've done another video on this topic as well, so you can check that out. Yeah, and also Japanese people aren't really searching in English at the end of the day. So yeah, just to, I guess if you want yourself to be ranking and being in front of these potential customers' eyeballs, and it's better to have it in Japanese as well. So yeah. All right, and step 4, launching your product and reviews. All right, so what is a launch and why is it necessary? All right, so you've ordered your inventory. It's been shipped over to the Amazon fulfillment centers. You've created your product page, and so if you just leave things the way they are, your product is probably not going to be found by anyone. So you have to try and somehow get it in front of the eyeballs of potential customers. Okay, so the way I do that, personally, I keep it simple, and I use PPC, which is Amazon's sponsored ad program. And yeah, as you see, I'll go into a little bit more about that in just a second. All right, but first of all, so how do you get reviews? So yeah, obviously, reviews are very important. There's social proof to show other potential customers if that product is really, if it's good quality, if it does what it says it's supposed to, things like that, if it has, some kind of functions. And so yeah, the more, obviously, the more reviews you have, usually the more proof you have. But as I said earlier again too, it doesn't necessarily matter so much if you have a lot of number of views, but the quality is much more important. So for me personally, for reviews, I use an email sequence like most people do. So when a customer buys your product, you can actually send them emails and you can request for them to send your review. And yeah, another strategy I've been using recently is QR codes. So yeah, in Japan, QR codes are actually pretty popular. You'll see them quite a lot on advertisements, around or in the city and or everywhere basically. And yeah, so what I do is I will put a QR code on like a piece of paper insert and get my supplier to include that with my product inside the packaging, and it'll basically just say something like, if you thank you for the purchase, if you are if you're happy with this product, please leave us a review here by using this QR code, and then they'll scan that QR code and we'll take them onto the Amazon site, and it makes things really easy, pretty quick, and not very many barriers for the customer to have to leave a review. So that's working out pretty well. Okay, and yeah, so PPC. So PPC stands for pay per click, and it's Amazon sponsored ad program. I'll just give you an example of what sponsored ads look like. Okay, so back on our phone holder page. So as you can see here, it says sponsored, 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 sponsored. So these are all actually ads, if you weren't aware. And yes, sellers can actually pay to have their products put in these kind of locations. So this is right up the top of the page. Sometimes you'll see them in the middle. Sometimes you'll see them down the bottom. And yeah, basically, so it's a bidding system. So the more higher you bid for specific keywords, the more chance you have of getting put into these good locations. So yeah, like as I said, I've been talking about a lot. It's about getting your product in front of potential customers' eyeballs, and this is a really good way to do it. All right, so moving on. Step 5: profit and improve. So make money while you sleep. So yeah, the best thing about doing private label and doing FBA is that once you send your products into the fulfillment centers, and you start getting sales, and then you start getting organic sales, everything it starts running on its own. So you literally can go to sleep each night and wake up in the morning, check your Amazon seller app, and you've actually made sales. So you've actually literally made money while you sleep. It's pretty awesome. And what do you do once a product is up and running? So so once it's up and it's running and it's making constant sales, what do you do? You got a couple of options. One, you can take that money, you can reinvest it, you can start growing your brand, or growing out your product line. You're trying to grow your business. You can get more products, or you can try and maybe sell those products that are doing well in another market overseas. Obviously do your research first before you do that. Otherwise you can keep that money, you can use it as a side income and spend it each month. You can use it, you can travel the world since you're making money each month. You can do so much stuff. It's a pretty awesome system, yeah. All right. All right, and do you want any more help or info? So yeah, that's it. If you want to learn more, or you want to get into a community with a lot of other people that are interested in selling on Amazon Japan, you can join my Facebook group. It's just called Amazon Japan Exclusive for FBA sellers. And if you like this video, if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. You click that like button, and please subscribe. All right, and that's about it. Cool. Thank you, and see you.